Speaking to your child about traumatic events like the unrest the country recently experienced at the U.S. Capitol can be a tough task for parents. Many may still be processing the events and could use tips and ideas on how to have a conversation with children who have lots of questions about what's going on in the world around them. Dr. Karol Darsa is a trauma expert and has some advice for us on this. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you.
First, let's talk about the tools. What tools should we use to talk about these traumatic events with our kids, like the one we saw at the Capitol earlier this month?
Right. First of all, the most important thing is, as parents, we have to stay really calm and collected. Otherwise, that anger or frustration or the fear really gets transferred to the children and they feel everything. So let's start there, right? The second important thing is you really go with the age of the child. So if they're younger, you want to protect them as much as possible from the truth and what's really happening. So just give answers to the questions that they're asking. So if they have one question, just give one answer. Don't go into lengthy explanations of what's happening. Otherwise, that could be very overwhelming for them. And it's important to speak with a young language because they're children, right? If you have kids who are 5, 6 years old versus 15-year-old, your language should be completely different according to that. I would recommend as much as possible to keep the TV and the news away from the kids and just share what's happening with them in the most simple and calming way as possible. What children really want to know is that, are they safe? So not only is the world safe, but are they safe within the family? So you need to be able to let them know that you are here to take care of them no matter what's happening outside.
Yeah, a lot of us as parents, we're still ourselves processing what happened, figuring out how we feel about it, figuring out how we're going to kind of, be okay with it or move forward. So how do we avoid maybe, projecting some of those fears so that our children don't see that? They want to feel safe, but if they see their parents being a little fearful, it can be scary.
Right. That's the reason why I suggest that they don't watch the news together with the kids, and then maybe they watch the news first. They talk to someone, they find a way to process their feelings, and then go sit down with their kids and explain. The good thing is kids, really, they can play a lot. And so when they play, they really are able to process it. So you can even do little doll houses or soldiers and stuff to explain things. And they can actually express their feelings through play, through music, through even dance. So they have a lot of expression.
So they can open up through those ways. We don't necessarily have to ask them questions, but they can open up through the way they play or the way they dance.
I would not ask a child a question unless they're asking me. That's why I was saying go with what the child is asking for, so that you're not going into this, oh, my child must need to talk about it now. They might not really be that aware as much as we think as parents. But I think for adults, if you want me to say a couple of things there too, is that if they can practice mindfulness, yoga, or other kind of calming activities like journaling feelings or talking and reaching out to friends or professional, this will really help the adults to calm down first, and then they'll be able to talk with their kids much better.
Yeah, and I think you made a good point. We have to think about what the ages of the child, because some of them are going to be too young to comprehend some of these events. But you also don't want to gaslight and not address their questions. As parents, we do want to keep reassuring our kids that everything is going to be okay. So is that a good thing to do? I mean, you can be honest, but you also need to let them know that things are going to be okay.
Yes, because they're not so concerned in a way about the world. They're more concerned about their immediate family. So they want to know, are we okay? Are you still able to take care of me, mom and dad? And am I going to be able to have still a normal life? That is their first concern. And if you can address that, then they'll be definitely able to take care of the stress of the world too.
And any final tips on how to talk about trauma with our children?
Yes, do not go over the details again and again. There's a belief that we think in order to get rid of stress, we have to just talk about it. But sometimes talking too much can be actually more traumatizing than really providing a relief. So think more of calming the nervous system down rather than focusing on the facts. So anything that's relaxing and calming and peaceful would be our first goal.
All right, Doctor. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing some tips on how we can tackle some of these tough subjects with our families. For more on how to talk to your children about these tough subjects, go to reconnectcenter.com.